Welcome back to another episode of Jungbub Talk. Today, we're diving into a really sensitive yet crucial topic: how to resolve marital problems. Now, we all know relationships can be challenging, and sometimes it seems like you're not on the same wavelength as your spouse. But what happens if you're stuck in that situation? Would it help to separate early rather than later?
That's a great question. The idea of separating early might seem like a quick fix, but it's not always the answer. In fact, separating prematurely, especially if both people haven't met the right conditions for it, can cause more harm than good. It can lead to emotional damage that takes a long time to heal.
That's true. So, what are these right conditions we're talking about? What should a couple consider before deciding on separation?
Well, first, it's important that both people understand they can't be of help to each other due to personal incompetence. It's not just about blaming the other person. It's about acknowledging that you might not be in the right place yourself to continue the relationship. You have to accept this and approach your spouse with that understanding.
So, it's about honesty and self awareness. But you also mentioned something about a loving mind when separating. What exactly does that mean in this context?
A loving mind means you are thinking of your partner's well-being as much as your own. Separation should not be about selfishness. If you decide to separate, it's for the sake of both of you, because continuing might not lead to growth or healing. It's about mutual respect and understanding.
I see. So, it's not just about I'm tired, I can't take it anymore. It's deeper than that. It's about having a clear, thoughtful reason for why things aren't working and making sure both sides are ready for that decision.
Exactly. And if you're the one initiating the separation, it's crucial to be responsible for your own part. You shouldn't think you're better than your spouse just because you know more or have more skills. Real growth comes from making the other person understand, not just knowing things yourself.
That sounds like a big lesson in humility. But how do we really prove that we are better? Is it about knowledge or something more?
Knowing something and making the other person understand it are two different things. Your abilities, your talents, everything you have, are given from heaven. It's not about being proud or looking down on others. If you can't make the other person understand, then you're not truly better. You may be competent in one area, but it's about using that to help the relationship, not to elevate yourself.
So, the focus isn't on who's right or wrong, but more on how to make the relationship work, even when things aren't perfect. But what if you realize you've been wrong all along?
That's a crucial point. If you recognize your own faults, you must admit them, no matter how difficult or embarrassing it might be. Instead of blaming your spouse, say, "I'm sorry, I thought I was doing the right thing, but I see now that I need more personal growth." This kind of honesty, owning up to your own mistakes, creates space for healing.
It sounds like taking responsibility is key to making things work. But what about the emotional weight? When you feel that heaviness in your chest, it's a sign of something deeper, right?
Yes, exactly. That heaviness is a kind of illness. It's emotional. To heal, you first need to understand where it's coming from. You can't just ignore it and hope it goes away. It's about analyzing the root cause, acknowledging your part in the situation, and treating it with care.
So, this emotional burden isn't something that just disappears with time. It needs active work, both in understanding what happened and in finding ways to resolve it.
Absolutely. And when you avoid dealing with your issues, you carry that burden into every other aspect of life. It'll show up again, and things won't go right for you. You'll keep facing the same situations if you don't resolve it properly.
It's almost like if you don't find the answer, you're just stuck in this loop. So, how does one break free from that?
It's about introspection. Find out what went wrong, whose fault it was, and then work from there. You need to learn from it, understand your own role. If you just blame your spouse or don't acknowledge your part, things will stay broken. But if you own your mistakes, you open the door to real healing.
And that means no pride, no standing on your own self-righteousness. Humility, ownership, and understanding are the real keys here.
Exactly. Only then can you move forward without fear of repeating the same mistakes. When you approach the situation with this mindset, things will start to make sense and the weight will lift.
So, it's about dealing with the emotional and spiritual side of things, not just the practical or material ones. When you're honest with yourself and your spouse, the whole dynamic changes.
Right, and then you can start healing. If you pray, ask for forgiveness, but only if you truly understand what you're asking for forgiveness for. It's not enough to say, I was wrong. You have to know what went wrong, and then heaven will respond.
It's a deep process of self-awareness, responsibility, and a willingness to do the hard emotional work. It's not easy, but it's the only way forward.
Exactly. The law of grand nature will guide you, but you have to be willing to learn and grow. Only then will you find peace, both with yourself and with your spouse.
Such powerful insights. It's clear that resolving marital issues requires so much more than just surface-level solutions. It's about understanding the deeper emotional truths and taking responsibility.
And remember, no matter how hard it gets, the road to healing starts with self-awareness and understanding. When you open yourself to growth, both you and your relationship can transform.
Well said. And with that, we'll wrap up this episode. Stay tuned for the next part of this conversation where we'll continue to explore how to live more harmoniously within relationships. Until next time.